14M saw my dad's texts saying how he wishes I was never born and basically just shitting on me. It's been me and my dad basically my whole life. My mom left when I was 4, and I literally don't have a single memory of her. And me and my dad have always had what I kinda saw as like the perfect relationship. We both like the same stuff, and recently he's even been getting me more into football. But we always do things together. Listen to music, cook, play basketball, pass the football, play with the dog, play video games together. So I kinda always assumed he actually cared about me and loved me. But last night I was using my dad's phone for something, and he got this text from some girl I've never heard him talk about. And I probably should have just ignored it and not be nosy, but I opened it and I started to read a bit of the texts. But I went back about 3 days so he sent this on Christmas in their texts and he was saying how he wishes he could judo with her, how he has to spend his time with me, and how he hates how annoying I am, constantly wanting to do things with him. And apparently my voice really annoys him too. And then one text said, "Sometimes I just wish he was never born. He has done nothing but ruin my life, and that one really hurt." He said some other things too, but I think you guys get the point. It was kinda late, around 10 p.m., so I just gave him his phone back and said, "Thanks," and I've been in my room since and it's 10 a.m. And most of the time was spent crying, and I slept for a few hours too. And normally I'm not that emotional. But I just feel like our whole relationship is a fucking lie. I feel like shit and know I'm starting to wonder if my friends feel this way about me too. And I just feel like shit. IDK what to do. I'm kinda stuck here and clearly he doesn't want me. Tell him. Get some therapy. For both of you. I left my husband, found evidence of his cheating, when I had just given birth to our third. Of course it would have been easier not having a newborn, or any kids. And I hate that I thought that. But we're very flawed as humans, and in dark times we do say some awful things. I'm so sorry you saw that. But he needs to be accountable for it. You can't bear that on your own. I wish I could give you a big hug. I have an almost 14-yo boy myself. This is so tough, and I'm so sorry. You need to tell him that you saw the messages and ask him to explain. Do you have anyone else, grandparents, that you could stay with if he reacts badly? Might be worth checking with them if you can stay for a few days beforehand. I am sorry you read that. Dear heart, I completely understand why you're upset. I am pretty sure anyone in your shoes would be. Maybe try to bring it up to him? Let him know how that made you feel? I feel for you. I know this hurts like hell, but please don't let this take you to a dark place. Easier said than done, I know. I've been there. It took me most of my adult life to work on that. I just want to save you the heartache I lived most of my life. But if he asks you what's going on, cause I'm betting you holding up in your is unusual, be honest with him, tell him you saw and read the messages and how it's affected you. My heart goes out to you and will pray for a good outcome. I'm so sorry. That is incredibly heartbreaking, especially coming from someone you love and trust and expect them to love you back. This is not something that rug sweeping is going to improve, but I question whether or not it is safe for you to confront your father with what you saw and read by yourself. Do you have a neutral person, family member, close family friend, that can be there when you talk? I do believe it's something worthwhile to talk about, and if it's not safe to do so with your father, then find someone. Please believe, you are loved and will find a loving family in others you choose to love as you grow older. I am so sorry. Poor baby. I know I haven't met you, but there are people who are glad you're here. Heart. That is so fucking disheartening. I know that makes you question a lot of things, but don't question your friendships. I'm sure they don't feel the same way at all. Your dad feels this way because you are his kid and he feels obligated to do those things. But your friends are by your side by choice. Fuck your dad for not being able to appreciate you. Hang out with your friends, keep them close, they can help you feel better. Go have some fun to keep this off your mind. Don't mope around for someone who clearly doesn't care about you. I understand you. I think those texts aren't true. You're still his son. Maybe it could be him just texting lies to a girl so she likes him more. Maybe the girl doesn't like kids and he is just trying to act the same so they have something in common. I keep my fingers crossed. Hey dude, I see where talking scares you because confrontation, which is valid. Would it make it a bit easier if you either wrote a letter or went to a friend's house and texted him from there? Apt it? Obviously, this a conversation that would best be had in person, or at least on the phone, but sometimes it's just easier to text or write so you have time to really flesh out your thoughts without freezing. Bide your time and cut him off completely when the time is right. If he tries to say something like, "What did I do wrong for you to treat me like this?" drop the bombshell on him that you saw the texts. Never speak to him again afterwards. "I'm so sorry that your dad talked about you that way. There is no excuse and you have every right to feel completely hurt by what he said. My best guess is he was just venting about having so much responsibility to a woman he's talking to, but I can't imagine ever saying that about one of my 2 sons. Is it easy? No, nothing is easy anymore. But I wanted kids, chose to have them, and love them more than anything else in the world. That's what every teenager deserves from their parents, and I'm sorry your dad made you feel this way with his awful words. I would tell him how much this hurts you and, if possible, seek therapy. Best of luck going forward." As a single dad of a son. He's much younger than you, but his mom also left. I will admit to thinking some terrible things when I was really struggling to keep my life from falling apart while raising him alone. It's possible your father is struggling and maybe this isn't the exact thing he wishes, but it's more of a, things would be easier if I didn't have all this on my plate and I could have some time to get it together. My dad did this in front of me many times. LMAO. Your friends probably don't hate you, because unlike parents, friends get to choose whether or not to associate with you. Since they chose to do so, I'd say it's safe to assume your friends like you. I've actually broken my heart reading this. I can't imagine what you are going through right now. But I would suggest a chat with him. You will tell by his reaction if he really feels this way when you it all out for him. But if these are his true feelings, I'm sure they are not though, then this is on him, not you op. And this woman found I am more attractive after saying all that? And #X200B. Sorry you read that. Being a parent is hard. I've got kids and sometimes complain about them to my friends. Sorry heart. Let him know that you saw it. Ask if it's true. If he says it's not true, ask why he said it then. Sometimes we say things that we think other people want to hear and he might have done that. Either way it's not good. Sorry you had to read that. Let him know what you told us about how good you were feeling about your relationship with him. The guy needs to make amends and earn your trust and love again. Being a single parent is tough. If he has always treated you decently, I would say he is venting his stress. You need to have a heart-to-heart talk with him, and you should still talk to a therapist at least a few times. You had a really hurtful and painful thing happen and need to process it. He was probably just venting. Everyone says things they don't mean. He does not have anyone to vent to about having a child, which is hard, but still he was extremely immature nonetheless. I have full faith he loves you and was being weak in that moment. Trust me, your friends do care about you and they do not think like that. It is easy to get in a wormhole of sadness and think everyone hates you. It is not true. You are great and smart and have unlimited potential. You and your dad just need to talk. Good luck. I definitely don't think this is how he truly feels. I believe those texts are written by a tired father in a stressful time of the year. Remember, we all have bad times, moods, periods. Parents have feelings as well. There's a lot of pressure on parenting and sometimes, a parent needs to be imperfect. It's okay to be sick of being a single parent and express it. I'm a 100% sure that it's something he has expressed based on a mood and temporary feelings. If he felt that way, he wouldn't do all of those things with you. One can only imagine how hard it must be, being a single parent. It's not something he would do for 14 years if he actually feels that way. I'm sure he loves you to his bones and couldn't actually imagine a life without you. Heart, come on, the man plays video games with you, winking face. Maybe see if you can stay with a friend whose parent you feel you can trust. Tell those parents and ask that they sit with you while you confront dad. Having someone in your corner who can add emotional support as well as prevent dad from just shutting you down or rug sweeping would likely be beneficial. Dad needs to explain this. Maybe it's a very poor excuse for a joke, maybe it's reflective of misdirected frustration and pressures you are unaware of. Whatever it is, he needs to put things right and owes you one hell of an apology. Do you know what gaslighting is? If you confront your father, there's a possibility that out of embarrassment or shame he'll deny he ever sent those texts. Then you may well spiral, wondering why you would imagine something that cruel. So do yourself a favor. Ask to borrow his phone again, take extensive screenshots, send them to yourself, then save them to cloud where he doesn't have access, like a new Gmail account, under different file names. This whole thing may turn out to just be your dad venting on a very hard day. When my children were young and my partner was away, I would sometimes want to just take a walk and not come back for days. Bad parenting days happen. But either way, you'll have proof that the words were indeed said. If you are okay with the relationship you currently have with your dad, then ignore it for now. There is nothing you can do right now. Your dad could just be venting to someone else. This doesn't mean that you shouldn't try to be independent and learn to take care of yourself if something happens in the future. Good luck. And frankly, that's a really shitty thing for you to have seen, and none of those feelings actually have anything to do with you. This is the most effed up post I've read in a while. Pretty sure I'm a major disappointment to my dad also though, so welcome to the club. Yeah. Nothing messes you up more than a parent. When you are told you are, insert bullshit here. Honestly. You should both go to therapy. This is something that will hurt you more and more. Talk to your dad and let him know you saw the text messages and what he wrote about you. Let him know you are not okay and you want to talk to a therapist and he should see one too. Do not get into it with him. Let him sort it out in therapy. Anything he says will make you go even further nuts. Wow. I have so many thoughts about this. It almost sounds like he is venting and upset because he found a woman that he really likes and he also wants to be a responsible father and not introduce her to you to protect your feelings, and he is also feeling resentful that he has to put his dating life on the back burner to take care of you. Taking off to your friend's house is absolutely not the answer. It might be scary, but you need to sit down and have a conversation with your dad about what you read. If you don't, it will come out when your emotions are high and turn into a big fight. May I ask how old you are? Are you able to live alone? The right thing to do would be to talk to him about it. But I'm guilty of holding onto shit like this myself, never telling anyone what I found out while snooping the way you did. Talking to him is so much easier said than done. I think you should say something to him about it. Don't sit with it and lay it eat you away. I think he was just venting. I mean, if he really did feel that way about you, would he do all those other things you mentioned? Football, cooking, gaming, etc. He doesn't have to do those things with you. I say talk to him. Tell him how you feel. Hang in there, kid. Sending love your way. He might have said those things because that's what he thought the woman he has been texting wants to hear. If you've never met her or even heard of her, there is probably a reason why. If your dad truly felt that way about you, it wouldn't have come as a shock to you. Just because he didn't think you would ever see them doesn't mean that it was okay to put those words out into the universe. Talk to him. I'm sorry, friend. I was in the same exact shoes at your age, but he just said it all to my face, which honestly seems easier to process. But it's not your fault, he's a better liar than a father. Just like I wasn't enslaving my father by needing food and shelter, you're not ruining his life by existing. I know how hard it is to believe. It seems like just one of those things people say to comfort you. Again, been there. But it really does get better. Keep your good friends close and treat people with kindness. You're going to make it Purple Heart. Seriously, fuck all these comments saying that he doesn't mean what he said and that he's a good person who had a lapse in judgment. He's an adult who said horrible things about his own child. Regardless of who was meant to see it, there's literally no reason that would justify this. Shame on everyone trying to give him a cop-out, especially after seeing how it's affecting the child he was completely disrespecting. It's completely disgusting. That being said, please don't question your friendships and other means of support. They've been with you a long time and just want you to be happy. I'm sure they'll be happy to help you through this if you let them. If I was the girl he was talking to, and some guy was texting me stuff like that about their own son, I'd run away. I'd be like, huge red flags. If I were you, I would face him and see what's it all about. I feel for you. This is an awful thing to read. He might have depression or something that has really nothing to do with you, but you'll never know what's up if you don't tell him you know. If you don't talk about it with him, you'll be carrying this whole weight on your shoulder, and will never be able to look at him the same. Petty me would just pack my things and stay at somebody else's house for a while. If he asks why you are packing your stuff, say that you read his texts and he wants you out of his life, so you're gonna do him a favor and do it. Let's see how he reacts. But that is probably not a healthy and right reaction, haha, so I agree with the others that you should talk to him. Hey. As a daughter whose mother has openly admitted she doesn't love her and hasn't for a long time, since I was 13/14, I'm turning 22 soon, I know how it is. My mom also says I'm annoying, she hates spending time with me, I'm boring, etc. Just know that none of the shit he's said about you is true. You will have to wait, but eventually, you will be able to move out and find your people. Don't rush into a relationship though. That's not what I'm saying. You will make friends, there will be romantic partners, you'll develop good relationships with coworkers, etc. You're worth so much more than what he thinks of you. He isn't even on your level. It will take time to heal and feel better about this, but no matter what, never forget that you can make your own family. I'll skip the advice about this being why you never peek into private conversations. He was probably grossly exaggerating in a moment of frustration and just vented due to the privacy. Take a moment to think, does he drink? Could he be drinking and hiding it from you? Because if he was drunk on top of the above, you can pretty much throw those texts out the window. Maybe he used you as an excuse? Possibly he's not into this woman, which is why you haven't met her. Maybe he said those things to her to keep her on a leash, but also so he doesn't have to meet up with her right away. Just thinking out loud. That being said, it's still not right. You should bring it up. If you don't feel comfortable bringing it up to him, maybe talk to a school counselor about it. Either way, it's a heavy burden and it definitely shouldn't be yours to bear alone.